So I want to share this evening two stories of two different women who lived in different times and in different worlds, but struggled with similar things. They struggled with being an outsider. The first woman I want to share with you was born green. So if you haven't seen Wicked, the Broadway version, or the movie Revival, you should just go now, and you should see it. It's a spiritual experience, I promise you. But if you have not seen it, there is a child who is born with green skin. Her name is Elphaba. And from the beginning of her life, she is dismissed. She is made into an outsider. She is ridiculed and made fun of. Even her father, it's very clear, hates her. She is again and again dismissed and the outside of her community. That is until she gets into a school and a teacher notices that she also has some power within her. It's magic. She has some power within her. She's able to do things that other people can't do. And this teacher tells her that this could get her this special ticket to go see the Wizard of Oz. And she gets very excited. And for the first time, her outer persona of strength and I don't care if people hate me begins to break a little bit. And we see, I'm not going to ruin anything. The show came out 20 years ago, just for the record. So you're bad, I don't know. But it starts to break a little bit. And in one particular song called The Wizard and I, where she imagines this interaction between her and the wizard and how the wizard is going to see her goodness, is finally going to see who she is, we start to realize that she knows that no one has ever seen that in her before. And we start to see her sadness a little bit more. In one particular line, I'm going to read it, but I feel like some of you are going to sing it. She imagines that the wizard, after noticing her goodness, says, "Would it be all right by you if I degreenify you?" And her response is, "And though, of course, that's not important to me, all right, why not? I'll reply." Beautiful. And with that, it's lighthearted and fun, but we realize that all she really wants is to look like everybody else. All she really wants is to fit in. All she really wants is to not be remarkable, is to not stand out, is to not be green, is to not be different, but rather to be exactly like everybody else. And we can feel her pain, we can feel her suffering, we can feel her disappointment in the idea that this might, she has hope that it will happen, but that this won't happen. Our Torah has some outsiders in it as well, and we get a big one in this week's Torah portion. We're in the story of Jacob, and Jacob goes away from his, I saw that eye, that was sweet, not Jacob Waxman. In the story of Jacob, our patriarch, and Jacob is in love with Rachel, this woman Rachel, and he works really hard to make sure that he can marry Rachel, and then he's duped into marrying Leah, her sister. The only thing we know about Leah, similar to Elphaba, is a physical difference from everyone else. The Torah does not say how people look. It's very rare to talk about beauty or have characteristics in the Torah. If you think about it, we don't know what Abraham looked like, right? It doesn't say that. And here it says, Leah had weak eyes. That's how Leah is described. That's her number one characteristic. She had weak eyes. What our commentators say about that is that she wasn't beautiful, is that she had a sadness in her eyes, or that she knew, similar to Elphaba, that she was not loved. But this came out as a physical difference. And so Leah goes about the world, similar to how Elphaba goes about the world, knowing that she's different, knowing that she's an outsider, and wanting so badly to fit in. And we know she so badly wants to fit in because she ends up playing the wife role really well in terms of biblical times, which is that she ends up producing lots and lots of babies. And by that I mean 10 out of the 12 tribes of Israel, 10 out of the 12 tribes that are our ancestors, come from Leah. That's triggering to hear me say that at the moment. But 10 of them, she ends up being prolific. But as she names her sons, we start to hear more and more of her pain. She does some wordplay, and so I'm not going to go into all of the Hebrew, but just trust me that there's good Hebrew wordplay here. She names her first child Reuven because, as she says in her own words, perhaps now my husband will see me. Perhaps now my husband will love me. Her second son she names Simeon because, as she says, God heard I was unloved and gave me this one also. It is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to hear how different she feels, how alone she feels, how separate she feels. She gives birth again and again and again until finally she gives birth to Judah, our namesake, right? We're Jews. Judah, that's where it comes from. And without real explanation, suddenly, Leah seems to come into her own. And she names Judah, Judah, which means, with this one, I'll give thanks to God. Give thanks to God? Like, where did this gratitude come from, right? She has weak eyes, she is disappointed, she's suffering, she's in pain, she doesn't feel loved, and now suddenly she's able to hold on to gratitude. It sounds as if she's able to hold on to her and her role in this world. As Rabbi Dr. Shai Held picks up on this moment, he's a great modern commentator, and he talks about how with this line, Leah shows us what it means to mix disappointment with gratitude, what it means to be on the outside and wanting to be in, but also finally coming into ourselves. And he says, disappointment need not preclude gratitude, and nor need gratitude crowd out the very real possibility of disappointment. Judaism does not ask us to choose one feeling or the other, but rather makes space, indeed seeks to teach us to make space for the sheer complexity and contradictoriness of human experience. Who better than Leah to teach us that a broken heart can also have moments of profound fullness? A broken heart can also have moments of profound fullness. It is disappointing not to fit in. It's disappointing to feel different from everyone around you. And we can hold that disappointment, we can hold that pain, we can hold that suffering, and feel really grateful for when we come into ourselves, and feel really grateful for those moments when we know we've done it, when we know exactly who we are. When I was a teenager, I belted the Wicked soundtrack in my car with my best friend, like, daily. The song, though, that we belted was not the, anthem of uniqueness of defying gravity that happens at the end of the first act, but rather, the song that we belted was Popular. The song that Glinda the Good sings, in her understanding that if you want to get stuff done in the world, you better be liked. You better be popular. And I will tell you that I fit in pretty well when I was a teenager. I didn't have a physical deformity, but my God, did I think I did. My God, did I think I was different. My God, did I think everyone knew I was a weirdo and they were just waiting to find out that I was so different and so outside. And I can only imagine, now that I get to do this wonderful job and get to talk to so many of you all the time, we each have felt that way. We have felt that way when we were young. We have felt that way in new jobs with new friends. We probably have felt that way right here at Washington Hebrew. Each of us have felt this outsiderness, this, God, I just wish I was in with the crowd. I wish I was just like everybody else. But what we learn from our people, what we learn from Leah, what we learn from Elphaba, is that that's actually not what's expected of us. And it's not what's good for us. We can hold that. I'm not trying to invalidate it. We can hold that disappointment, but we can also take moments of real gratitude for who we are and what the world needs us to be. At the end of this part of the movie, or of the first act, the movie actually does a little bit of a different thing than the play does, where they emphasize Elphaba. There's like an army coming to get her, and they emphasize this line where Elphaba says, "It's me you want, it's me, it's me." And she repeats these two words, "It's me, it's me." And it becomes clear that she's actually not saying that for the army. She's saying that for herself, right? Where she's finally coming into herself and saying, it's me. This is me. Take it or leave it, it's me. It's going to be really green, and it's going to be really weird, and it's me. There's an amazing theologian, my favorite, named Martin Buber. You have heard us say this quote before because we like it a lot, that, that if anyone like you had ever existed before in the world, there would be no need for you to be born. We don't need another Elphaba. We don't need another Leah. My God, we don't need another Eliana. we need you. We need you. And we need those moments where we can come into ourselves and where we can celebrate who we are, and we can be grateful for all of the gifts that God has given us and all of the gifts that we've cultivated in ourselves. Shabbat Shalom.
Go inside your heart, just be. Go inside.